Part 37. The Country Life of a Rich Dad. Author, Wo Shihami Gua. Chapter 361. Wait a minute. After Li Chen finished cooking the noodles, he took Li Zifeng to the living room. The two girls who inherited Murong Shue's fine traditions have thick hair. Li Chen, who was not very good at combing hair, is even worse now. Li Donglong and Li Nanfei crossed their legs and looked at Li Chen in the same posture. Not being good at combing hair seems to be a tradition of the old Li family. Grandpa Li Chuanlong is not good, and Li Chen is not good either. Li Chen didn't know that Li Donglong, the leader, is even worse. As for the youngest Li Nanfei, he relies on the hairdresser to survive. So, this is a skill that has been passed down from generation to generation. Li Chen was very troubled. He combed his hair for a long time and his hair was static electricity. "Dad, you should tie it." Li Nanfei was a little anxious. He thought that only he and his eldest brother didn't know how to tie hair, but it turned out that his father didn't know how to tie hair. Li Chen's old face was gloomy, and he finally tied Li Zifeng's hair into a single ponytail with a hairband. Sorry, I'll loosen the hairband for you," Li Chen apologized, his old face flushed. Li Zifeng had tears in her eyes. "If I had known that it would be so painful for my dad to tie my hair, I shouldn't have asked for it. But, I have to finish the road I chose even if I have to kneel." "Does it look good?" Li Chen took out a mirror and let Li Zifeng appreciate it herself. "It looks good." "Good deal." Li Donglong and Li Nanfei widened their eyes and looked at Li Chen with admiration. "Dad is so amazing, he can actually tie hair." The two sons' eyes flashed with admiration, which made Li Chen burst with confidence. Murong Shui, who was bringing Li Bui back, looked at the hairstyle on Li Zifeng's head and almost couldn't breathe. "Shui, come on, I found that I still have a talent for tying hair, I'll help you tie it." Li Chen stood up and took the initiative to take the job. "This is a single ponytail," Li Chen said excitedly. "Isn't it beautiful?" Li Zifeng looked at Murong Shui with tears in her eyes. Murong Shui paused for a long time and said, "I can't say it's exactly the same, I can only say, there is no relationship." Li Chen. But Xiaolong and Xiaofei both said it looks good. Li Chen didn't give up. He felt that Shui was jealous of him. Murong Shui glanced at Li Donglong and Li Nanfei and said, "Beautiful." The two little guys nodded repeatedly, and there was really admiration in their eyes. At this moment, Murong Shui was heartbroken. Is this the relationship of blood inheritance? Even the aesthetics are so weird. Li Zifeng pouted and threw herself into Murong Shui's arms. She never wanted her father to tie her hair again. "How can this be a single ponytail?" Murong Shui patted her daughter's back distressedly. Fortunately, at least the aesthetics of the eldest and youngest daughters have not followed Li Chen. Otherwise, this family will really be finished. Watching Murong Shui retying Li Zifeng's hair, Li Chen licked his lips and looked at Li Donglong and Li Nanfei's chicken coop and said, "I help you comb your hair." "Okay." Li Donglong and Li Nanfei nodded heavily. At this moment, the father and his three sons never felt that the tacit understanding between them was so sufficient. "Mom," Li Zifeng whispered, "are we wrong or are they wrong?" Murong Shui sighed and said, "Maybe we are wrong. After all, there is no father in the world who is as clumsy as your father but overconfident." Li Zifeng nodded in agreement. "Sure enough, no one in this world is perfect. Dad is so powerful, but he can't tie hair. The key is that the clumsy attributes of the eldest brother and the younger brother seem to be more serious than the old man." "Ah!" The mother and daughter sighed at the same time, expressing deep concern. Li Bui raised his head and hiccuped in fear. "I saw Li Chen and the other two appear with a hairstyle that I didn't know how to describe at all." Murong Shui and Li Zifeng looked at the father and son trio with a dull look. "This a new hairstyle," Li Chen vowed. Murong Shui wanted to gouge out her eyes and pointed at Li Nanfei's hairstyle and said, "This is 7. What about you?" Murong Shui pointed at Li Donglong. "Tiga. Damn Tiga, are you bullying your mother? Haven't I seen Tiga?" Murong Shui couldn't help but want to be furious, and looked at Li Chen again, and said with a gloomy and beautiful face, "What are you? Father of Ultraman?" Puff. Li Zifeng and Murong Shui felt that they were stabbed in the heart. Even Li Biwu felt that his father was eye-catching this time. However, Li Chen and the other two walked into the living room to eat confidently. Murong Shui said that she didn't want to have breakfast with them, and decisively brought out the noodles. Dad Li Nanfei touched his hair styled with a lot of hairspray and gel and said, "Aren't we handsome?" "Very handsome," Li Chen said seriously. "Your mom and the others don't understand this kind of aesthetics. Let's shoot a short video later." Li Donglong's eyes lit up when he heard it and said, "Can I transform with a lightsaber?" This is a bit difficult. "How about I buy some props first?" Li Chen hesitated. Okay, Li Donglong clenched his fists excitedly. Living room. Murong Shui, Li Zifeng, and Li Biwu, mother and daughter, looked at the three people who were discussing in the restaurant with a dull look on their faces. They couldn't even eat noodles. "Mom," Li Biwu huddled beside Murong Shui and said, "Is Dad crazy?" "I don't know if your dad is crazy, but I think I'm going crazy." Murong Shui gritted her teeth and said. It is said that men always have a childish side, but she doesn't believe it. At least, Li Chen acted mature before. There are also many bloggers on Douyin who say that there is a light in every man's heart. She thinks this blogger is releasing greenhouse gases. But today, she really wants to apologize to this blogger. No matter what age group a man is, sometimes he will return to the middle school age. Murong Shui watched Li Chen buy props, and then took his eldest son and youngest son to transform into Ultraman with a lightsaber. She didn't know, what's so fun about this? Where is the excitement? Three mothers and daughters, the same confusion. In the end, Li Chen still released the video. What almost made Murong Shui and her two daughters collapse was that after the video was released, the number of likes, playbacks, and comments was just like riding a spaceship, and it rushed to the hot search in an instant. And this speed is even more terrifying than the video they officially announced last night. The dad is so handsome, isn't he? What should I do? I suddenly like the brother of actor Li. This damn appearance, why are the three fathers and sons so handsome? I want to lick the screen. Oh my god, is there such a handsome Ultraman? I want it too. I envy Murong Shui in my real name. I envy Murong Shui in the same style. Murong Shui looked at the video playback volume with a dull face. It broke 100 million in the blink of an eye, and the number of comments reached a terrifying 250,000. How long has it been? The key is that these three stupid fathers and sons seem to be gaining fans faster than they officially announced their reunion last night. Is this serious? The Country Life of a Rich Dad. Author, Wo Shihami Gua. Chapter 362. For others to be popular, it takes countless luck, but Li Chen doesn't seem to need it. Whether it's with his daughter or son, he seems to be born to be popular. The key is that after taking pictures, he still sat in the house and smiled foolishly. Murong Shui really didn't know how to complain, until Li Zifeng and Li Biwu were dragged to join. Murong Shui completely gave up. Forget it, anyway, we are all crazy at home, so let's do whatever we want. For Li Chen, the family seems to have never enough time together. It's rare to accompany a few children, and time flies by. Near the evening, Ye Yonggan sent dozens of kilograms of pork to Li Chen and his friends. There are very beautiful ribs, tenderloin, pig's trotters and elbows, and fat and lean pork belly. After Li Chen thanked him, he and Murong Shui took everything in. Daddy. The four little guys, led by Li Biwu, all looked at Li Chen eagerly. See Irura, Li Biwu swallowed her saliva. Although it was still raw, the meat looked so beautiful. Even Li Donglong and Li Nanfei looked at Li Chen eagerly. Do you want to eat tonight? Yes. Okay, tonight Dad will make you the internet celebrity crispy pork belly, steamed pork ribs, braised pork elbows, and braised pig's feet. Listening to Li Chen, the four little guys began to drool. Since Li Chen came here, Wu Ma doesn't have to stay here all day long. Murong Shui did not dismiss her, but Li Chen occupied the kitchen. Wu Ma had nothing to do except to clean up the rest of the things. Murong Shui turned on her mobile phone and filmed the whole process of Li Chen's careful cooking. If there were no tools at home, they would buy them immediately and then directly transport them here at a high price. In order to let the children have a good meal, Li Chen was also very hard-working. The recipe for the internet celebrity pork belly is available on the internet. Just follow it. Li Chen doesn't mind the trouble at all. Li Donglong and his four little guys squatted in the kitchen. Until Li Chen finished cooking, the whole house was filled with the aroma of meat. In order to take care of Murong Shui, Li Chen still fried 2 vegetables, otherwise it would be impossible to eat all the meat. Let's eat. Li Chen brought the dishes to the table. It was delicious. This meal was so delicious that her mouth was greasy, and she kept saying delicious. Even Murong Shui couldn't help but eat several mouthfuls of meat in succession until she was a little full, and then she put it down. This meat feels. It's different, right? Li Chen took out a tissue and gently wiped the grease from the corners of Murong Shui's mouth. Yes, Murong Shui couldn't help blushing and said, completely different from the previous quality. Li Chen smiled, it's right that it's different. It would be strange if the pigs didn't change if they were fed with vitality water and things cultivated with vitality water. Although Li Biwu was small, he held the largest pork elbow and chewed it until his face was covered with oil. Murong Shui wanted to wipe her, but she held back. Shaking her head, Li Biwu could only hand it over to Li Chen. I have to go shoot Gigi, Murong Shui said. This Gigi was customized by Li Chen and Pan Sichen's company. It was to shoot Gigi for Zy Fiju. Although yesterday's video was very popular, it was not enough. Then go quickly, Xiao Wu and I will wait for you. Li Chen uploaded the video with a smile. Murong Shui didn't want Li Chen and others to accompany her, and she also needed to adapt to the environment. The video was uploaded and became popular again. Of course, it was not just the video that became popular this time, but also the pork. Today, yes, pork has been sold in various markets. Although there was no publicity, some people have been posting Douyin since noon. It's just that none of them are popular. Because they are not big celebrities or top streamers, yes, pork is only spread in a small range. However, when Li Chen uploaded this video, it immediately aroused the appetite of countless people. Many people even imitated and bought pork to try. Under this chain reaction, the Ye family's pork, which had not been sold much, suddenly dropped sharply. When these video bloggers and internet celebrities finished eating, their expressions were extremely exaggerated. Some even couldn't help crying. It can be said that many netizens were stunned, and many netizens denounced it as too fake. However, as more and more people were involved in the filming, the style of painting changed. It was originally an imitation show, but it turned into a promotion of pork. They all said that this was the best and most satisfying pork they had ever eaten. That night, yes, fragrant pork became popular. This was the first time that everyone had eaten a kind of pork that was not fishy and fragrant. The Ye family returned to everyone's attention, and many people were paying attention to yes pork. At this moment in the capital, countless big families watched the scene after scene and fell into silence. It was too fast, it was really too fast. It was just a short time, and miracles happened one after another. First it was the Yuan family, then it was the drunken Princess Wine, and then it was the Ye family. These families, which had originally been in desperate situations, were all reborn. It seemed that there was no connection behind everything, but they grasped a common point: Li Chen. The He family's liquor suffered a great setback. Zheng's vegetables were sold for just one day, and it was reported that an accident had occurred on the same day. The people who ate them felt unwell and were admitted to the ward. At first, it was still suppressed, but the Zheng family sold too many vegetables on that day. This situation is not just one case, but many cases. This caused the Zheng family, which had already regained a lot of its reputation and prestige, to suffer a heavy blow in an instant. The Zheng family's reputation was in disgrace, and the quality of its vegetables became a hot topic, triggering a huge discussion. Countless people were affected, which means that the Zheng family's new vegetables have serious safety hazards. In contrast, the Yuan family, until this time, the Yuan family's vegetables were once again compared and became a hot topic. The Zheng family was in a panic, but the Yuan family did not move. Just when everyone thought that the Yuan family was ready to win by sitting and lying, in the early morning, the second product of the Yuan family, which was commonly known as the intermediate vegetable, came out. Of course, the effect of the Yuan family's big move was not as good as expected. After all, the Zheng family's previous experience is still here. But, people will die if they compare themselves to others, and goods will be thrown away if they are compared to others. After all, the Yuan family had not failed before, and there were still a large number of supporters. Moreover, the issue of vegetables is now a major dietary issue, and countless bloggers want to attract attention. After a few rounds, the second new vegetable product of the Yuan family, after suffering a small setback, still successfully appeared among the public. And this was the key move that accelerated the rapid defeat of the Zheng family. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Country Life of a Rich Dad. Author, Wo Shihami Gua. Chapter 363. Have you heard? Yuan's vegetables have new products. Is it true? It's not a lie, is it? What's the lie? Now there's a big fuss on the internet, because this batch of intermediate vegetables from Yuan's family is even better than the previous elementary ones. Really? Of course it's true. You can go and see. The demand for Yuan's vegetables is even more terrifying now. Yes. After the initial suspicion and suffering, Yuan's vegetables quickly became a hot search. Haha, I laughed to death. I thought Zheng's family was going to compete with Yuan's family, but I didn't expect it to jump on the first day. Ah, it's true that details show a person's character. After all, Zheng's family is picking peaches halfway. Yes, Yuan's vegetables are really delicious. Weibo, Douyin, Moments, forums, all areas where comments can be seen have now triggered huge speculation and discussion. Yuan's family, a small family that originally had few advantages, once again stepped on Zheng's family to get to the top. Elementary vegetables have captured everyone's appetite. The appearance of these intermediate vegetables completely shocked the whole country and the world. This time, countless hesitant people chose the Yuan family. In terms of the market and public opinion, the Zheng family lost. Lost miserably. The Yuan family made a great comeback. The Yuan family. The courtyard. Yuan Tianfeng was introverted and was fanning himself with a cattail leaf fan. A figure suddenly descended on the Yuan family courtyard, full of murderous intent. Yuan Tianfeng was not surprised to see the other party appear, but prepared tea instead. Sir, would you like some tea? Yuan Tianfeng smiled. Yuan Tianfeng, you are quite courageous. What does it matter if you are small or not? Yuan Tianfeng shook his head and said, since the Zheng family is here, why should they hide their heads and show their faces? The man snorted coldly and said, Hand over your core research secrets, and I will consider leaving a way out for your Yuan family. Yuan Tianfeng shook his head slightly. 10 years ago, the Zheng family used the means to suppress my Yuan family and robbed my Yuan family's fruits. 10 days later, what else do you want? Greedy. Then there is no room for negotiation. The man snorted coldly and slapped Yuan Tianfeng with one palm. Yuan Tianfeng's eyes turned cold and he slapped out with one palm at the same time. Bang! The moment the two men collided, a strong airflow impact instantly spread out with the two men fighting as the center. The fallen leaves around them turned into dust in an instant. You broke through, the man was surprised, looking at Yuan Tianfeng who stepped back several steps, showing a hint of surprise. Yuan Tianfeng had not been promoted for many years. Now he had only entered the middle stage of the Grandmaster, but he actually had such a strong internal force. It was incredible. This was almost catching up with him, a late Grandmaster. The more this was the case, the more he wanted to kill Yuan Tianfeng. A family with a mid-stage Grandmaster and a family with only an early Grandmaster were two completely different concepts. If the Yuan family was not destroyed, the Zheng family would be in trouble. Endless murderous aura was released, and this person did not waste words and attacked Yuan Tianfeng instantly. The two fought at an extremely fast speed. In a flash, they had already fought more than 10 times. Bang! Yuan Tianfeng spit out a mouthful of blood, even though his injuries were almost healed now. But the gap was the gap. Die, just when the Zheng family Grandmaster was about to take Yuan Tianfeng's life with a palm, a leg shadow kicked over. With a bang, the air exploded. The Zheng family Grandmaster retreated in horror. Who are you? Yuan Tianfeng also showed a look of surprise. This man is so strong. A figure walked out from the darkness. The Zheng family master's face changed again. Lu Lei. Your Murong family is also going to intervene. No. You have broken through. The Zheng family master looked like he had seen a ghost. There were too many surprises this night. First, the old Yuan Tianfeng entered the middle stage of the master, and then the guest master Lu Lei of the Murong family entered the late stage of the master. When did the master of the martial arts world make progress so easily? Lu Lei looked at the Zheng family master, especially at his shocked look, but sneered in his heart. Before this, how could he not be the same as him? Thinking of the man who suppressed him, Lu Lei was very glad that he made the right choice. In the current master realm, who can suppress that person? Perhaps, it is still unknown above the master. Lu Lei's respect and fear for Li Chen in his heart are stronger than anyone else. His master realm has been further improved, which is also given by Li Chen. The more this happened, the more he was in awe of Li Chen. Protecting the Yuan family member was the first thing he promised to do for Li Chen. The Zheng family master's heart was filled with turbulent waves. He knew that he could not touch the Yuan family tonight. If he failed this time, he might have no chance next time. But he could not kill Lu Lei or Yuan Tianfeng in a short time. Once there was a big commotion, someone from the patrol security department would come. The Zheng family master glared at Lu Lei with dissatisfaction and said, "The Murong family, wait for death." He did not stay and turned away. "Thank you." Yuan Tianfeng had a complicated expression. At the last moment, it was the Murong family who took action. "Brother Yuan, you don't have to be like this." Lu Lei did not dare to be arrogant. "This matter was not commissioned by the Murong family, but Mr. Li Chen asked me to come." It was him. Yuan Tianfeng flashed a hint of surprise. Early morning. Another scandal in the capital. The Zheng family attacked the Yuan family in the middle of the night because they failed in the vegetable competition. This news spread like wildfire, causing an uproar among the people. This also attracted widespread attention and heated discussions, and even aroused the disgust of countless people. What the hell is this Zheng family? It's simply too much. They can't compete, so they attack others. This is simply disgusting. If you Zheng family have a conscience, you should put your mind on the right path. On the internet and in reality, there are scoldings everywhere. There are constant condemnations. The entire Zheng family's enterprises and shares have all suffered a sharp drop. This has become the fastest rollover in the history of the wealthy families in the capital. The Yuan family has received much attention and love. Even if the Zheng family wants to attack, it will be useless. On the same day, the Ye family's fragrant pigs were popular in the entire market. Last night's fermentation made the Ye family's pork reappear in the market. There are also countless popular science bloggers who have told the past and present of the Ye family. It can be said that it has ignited countless spectators. When the Ye family once again stood on the pork market with the fragrant pigs, the Ye family successfully defended their title. All the big pigs raised by the Ye family were ordered within one day. This was a glory that the Ye family had never achieved before. And the tens of thousands of pigs that flowed into the market were actually just a drop of water. The Ye family earned 10 billion in one day. It was terrifying. The Ye family in the capital rose in an extremely powerful and domineering manner. And on this day, the atmosphere of the entire capital became subtle. The Zheng family was already unable to take care of themselves, and the He family was even more anxious. The only Mu family seemed to be unaffected now. But life was not easy. And everyone was still waiting. The He family, the Mu family, and the Zheng family asked the Murong family for debts and people. The Country Life of a Rich Dad. Author, Wo Shihami Gua. Chapter 364. Now, anyone with a discerning eye can see that what the three families want is for the Murong family to compromise. What they want is for Li Chen and Murong Shui to admit their mistakes. But is it still possible now? Do the Mu family, the He family, and the Zheng family still have a chance to wait? Obviously not. Murong Family Private Hospital. Murong Hungs was lying on the bed, looking at his wife who looked bad, and was speechless for a while. Yuan Jiawai handed the boiled medicine to Murong Hungs. The once loving couple had a huge rift because of this disagreement. Murong Qingying in the next room treated herself as an idiot. Don't listen, don't ask, don't know. Jiawai, looking at his wife who was about to leave, Murong Hungs couldn't help shouting. Although Yuan Jiawai stopped, she didn't speak. Are we really going to this point? You even schemed against your own children, so should you scheme against me in the future? Yuan Jiawai sneered. For so many years, I didn't ask you to be nice to Shuer, but what did you do? Han Han became like this because of you. What do you have now? You are alone. Is power really that important to you? Murong Hungs pursed his lips for a long time before he said, I have my own difficulties. This is not a reason for you to make excuses, Yuan Jiawai said coldly. Shuer and Li Chen can get together. I don't think you have it harder than Li Chen. Today, the three major families will definitely not wait any longer, and will definitely put pressure on the Murong family. If Li Chen comes to ask for someone, will you let him go or not? The couple looked at each other with deep eyes. Murong Hung's eyes flickered slightly, and he didn't speak in a hurry. And Yuan Jiawai also understood that everything in the capital now was caused by Murong Hungs. That stupid brother-in-law Murong Hong Chuan still thought he could take charge of the Murong family, which was really ridiculous. If it weren't for her calculating husband who gave him this opportunity, he would never be able to touch the position of the head of the family in his next life. What a pity, today the three major families will definitely not wait any longer. Murong Hong Chuan, the head of the family who has only been in office for 3 days, must be driven out. He will never be qualified to take over the power of the Murong family in this life. I don't know if he will think of these. Yuan Jiawai was helpless. If she didn't know her husband well enough, she couldn't see through what Murong Hungs was thinking at all. No, to be precise, she just saw through some of Murong Hung's thoughts now. As for the rest, she couldn't think of it at all. I said, I will let Shuer go. What about Xiaolong? Yuan Jiawei asked again. Murong Hungs was silent. So, Li Chen can take Murong Shui away, but not Xiaolong, right? Yuan Jiawei sighed. Do you have to break them up? You don't understand. I don't understand. Yuan Jiawei felt distressed. I hope you keep your word. After that, he turned and left. Murong Hung's eyes were gloomy, staring at the direction where his wife left, and sighed again. Li Chen, if you were in my position, what would you choose? Thinking of this, Murong Hung smiled disdainfully. Even Li Chen would probably choose the same way, right? However, thinking of today's situation, he showed a strange smile again. Can Li Chen get 133.4 billion? Murong family. The atmosphere was heavy. Waste, all waste. At this moment, Murong Hongchuan seemed to be 10 years older. These 2 days, he felt like he was in prison, sitting on pins and needles. The 3 mountains of Zheng family, Mu family, and He family made him breathless. What he didn't expect was that the Ye family and the Yuan family, who had been out of touch, would suddenly rise. Even during this period, they set terrible records. For example, today, the Ye family has become the leader in the domestic pork industry. Countless families, companies, and markets are contacting him. Today, the daily pork consumption in China is close to 60 million tons. What is this concept? Converted into kilograms, that is 120 million kilograms. And the first batch of adult pigs of the Ye family, the average is only about 380 kilograms. This is because they used the things from Li Chen's side. And the 10,000 pigs released by the Ye family are only 3.8 million kilograms. Compared with the national consumption, isn't that just a little bit of waves? This is also the reason why the Murong family can't sit still now. Whether it is the Ye family or the Yuan family, the Murong family didn't help them much during this period of immersion. Now, the Ye family and the Yuan family have begun to take action, although it has relieved the pressure to a certain extent. But these families could not sit still any longer, and began to put pressure on the Murong family. Just now, the 3 families had officially notified the Murong family. If they did not pay for the losses, if they did not hand over the people, then we would start a war. Start a war at all costs. The Murong family could not withstand a second such shock. Now, Murong Hungs was lying in the hospital, and the one who could make the decision was Murong Hongchuan. Murong Hongchuan was fine with fighting among himself, but if he wanted to manage the family or even deal with the outside world, that was really not possible. Therefore, he was already exhausted. You guys talk. Murong Hongchuan glanced and found that the arrogant clansman in the past was now like his mother had died. Even Murong Yan and Murong Kun remained silent at this time. Who dares to speak? After Master Lu Lei was taken down by Li Chen, there was no news, and no one knew whether he was dead or not. Now Murong Qingying collapsed in the hospital again, and the Murong family, no one is left. Even the Ye family and the Yuan family sent him news today. And they claimed that if anyone dared to hand over Li Chen and Murong Shui, the Ye family and the Yuan family would destroy all their assets and fight to the death with the Murong family. If it were the Yuan family and the Ye family a few days ago, Murong Hongchuan really didn't take them seriously. However, the current Yuan family and the Ye family, just the estimated market value of the world, has easily exceeded 100 billion. Not to mention, the daily trading volume of the Yuan family and the Ye family is now calculated in units of 10 billion. In the world, there are few who can compete with this. The Murong family is attacked from all sides. The pressure is huge. Master, master, it's not good. Just when everyone was tense, the employees ran over. Murong Hongchuan's heart skipped a beat and he said, "What's going on? Tell me." The head of the family, the people from the Mu family, the He family, and the Zheng family, are on their way. Boom. Murong Hongchuan was completely stunned. The rest of the people were also pale. Yes, how many people are there? Come out in full force. The house was silent. The Zheng family couldn't sit still. The He family couldn't bear it anymore. The Mu family was also scared. If they don't come, maybe there will be no chance in the future. Now is the time to try. If the Yuan family and the Ye family really take off and become the industry leader, then the Zheng family and the He family will be finished. As for the Mu family, they can't stand it alone and are doomed to die. Instead of waiting to die, it's better to strike now. The Country Life of a Rich Dad. Author, Wo Shihami Gua. Chapter 365. The capital is paying attention. Outside the Murong family, there are shadows. Inside the Murong family, people are in a panic. When the three families came together, there was actually no room for negotiation on this matter. Murong Hongchuan was sweating profusely. Even if he didn't want to go out, he had to go out. Diamond sued. He had only been the head of the family for a few days, and he had lost several pounds. Young Master Zheng, Young Master He, Young Master Mu, Murong Hongchuan went out with his clansmen to greet him with trepidation. Zheng Wenjun's face was cold, and Mu Wenji's eyes were deep, which put him under great pressure. He Runkai looked at Murong Hongchuan, who was sweating profusely, and looked down on this head of the family who was suddenly supported. But the current head of the Murong family is weak, which is a good thing for them. Murong Hongchuan was full of bitterness. Around the three major families, there were also CEOs and bigwigs of companies involved in 20 or 30 industries, and they were all there. Not only that, there were more than a dozen small and medium-sized families. These are all directly or indirectly cooperating with the Murong family. Once it is cut off, the Murong family will inevitably suffer a great loss. Where are the people? Hirunkai said coldly, too lazy to talk nonsense. Murong Hongchuan wanted to cry a little, and said, Mr. He, it's not that my Murong family is unwilling to hand over the people, it's really that the thief Li Chen is too arrogant and cunning. My Murong family can't do anything about him. Hirunkai snorted coldly and said, if you don't hand over the people, then the Murong family will die first. This is naturally not a threat. Mr. He, please give us some time. Give you time? I've given you 2 days, but what did your Murong family do? Hirunkai was too lazy to talk nonsense, their debt is on you, and the same goes for the 60 billion. As soon as this was said, everyone in the Murong family was angry. Mr. He, we are innocent. What Murong Shui did has nothing to do with us. Even if there is compensation, it should be paid by Li Chen and Murong Shui. The people of the Murong family may not be united to the outside world, but as long as it involves their own money, they are all like misers. At present, the three major families, many enterprises and small families want to impose sanctions on the Murong family, and even have to pay hundreds of billions of money. How can they not be furious? Hirunkai sneered and said, either hand over the people, or, the Murong family will go bankrupt today. Murong Hongchuan's face changed drastically. The only two remaining masters of the Murong family, one has been lying in a private hospital with Murong Hongs, and the other has been stepped on by Li Chen and has no news. Most of them have no way to survive. In this case, how can the Murong family compete? Murong Hongchuan, our Murong family will never compensate, you can do it yourself. If you dare to drag the Murong family into the water, we will not coexist with you. Murong Hongchuan, you must give them an explanation for this matter. The people of the Murong family are always more ruthless than you can imagine. At this moment, they dare not be angry with the three major families, but they have no psychological pressure to be angry with the newly appointed Murong Hongchuan. If Murong Hongchuan can't do it, then change another head of the family. When Murong Hongchuan heard the words of the clan members, he gritted his teeth in anger. These vampires only know how to eat, and they are useless at the critical moment. Termites. They are all termites. Murong Hongchuan was extremely annoyed, but it was useless to be annoyed. Those who should stab will still stab. At this moment, Murong Hongchuan actually felt a kind of sadness in his heart, and he suddenly understood his elder brother Murong Hong's 10 years ago. It was not until this moment that Murong Hongchuan realized how big the gap between him and his elder brother was. Isn't it the same today as 10 years ago? The eldest brother handled it almost perfectly and saved the entire Murong family, but now it's his turn, and he is a little helpless. Murong Hongchuan has already understood at this moment that he is not the material to lead the family. He finally understood why the eldest brother hated him and others so much. Don't interfere in politics if you are not in the position. These vampires deserve to die and should be killed. They usually take more than anyone else, and they have taken all the rights. But now, when they have to get through the difficulties together, they remove themselves completely. Damn it! Murong Hongchuan smiled sadly and said, the Murong family really can't afford so much money. Hirunkai was not satisfied with this answer and said, if that's the case, then it's not our fault. If you don't take action now, when will you? Murong Hongchuan, you are the head of the family, do you want the Murong family to be buried with you? Murong Honghong said angrily. She knew that her third wife's chance had come. Murong Hongchuan sneered, looking at this sister who was unwilling to marry and could only rely on the Murong family to find a son-in-law, with a particularly disgusted look in his eyes. At this moment, he was still thinking about internal strife. Just as Murong Hongchuan was about to speak, 2 cars slowly came, attracting everyone's attention. It's so lively. Am I here at the wrong time? Li Chen. Countless eyes fell on the man holding a cute baby girl. Behind him, there was a stunning woman with 3 children. The moment they saw Li Chen, Zheng Wenjun, Mu Wenjia, and Hirunkai's eyes flashed with a strong murderous intent. They were not idiots, how could they not see that it was actually Li Chen who was behind this? If it weren't for him, how could the 3 major families have fallen to this point? The appearance of Li Chen and Murong Shue's family still made many people in the Murong family happy. Could it be that Murong Hongchuan has already taken them all down? Thinking of this, Murong Honghong's eyes flashed with sadness, and the rest of the family members smiled. Since Li Chen and Murong Shue are here, they can be handed over. As for the Murong family, they can also get away smoothly. Come on, take down Li Chen and Murong Shue. Seeing this, Murong Yan was also very happy. Li Chen and Murong Shue, this pair of idiots, actually delivered themselves to the door, just in time for the 3 major families to vent their anger. Mr. He, Li Chen and Murong Shue are already here, please deal with them. Murong Kun also stood aside and said happily. The 2 siblings didn't see how ugly the face of their father Murong Hongchuan was. The 3rd generation of the Murong family is completely finished. None of them has a brain. Mr. He, my Murong family guarantees that this matter has nothing to do with us. Whether they live or die is up to you, and my Murong family will never interfere. Murong Han, who was standing in the crowd, also spoke up. She hated this sister especially. If Murong Shue died today, she would feel very happy. Hearing this, Murong Shue glanced at Murong Han calmly. In the past, she felt guilty about this sister. But after experiencing many things, she found that some people might not have self-knowledge. Especially Murong Han. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Country Life of a Rich Dad. Author, Wo Shihami Gua. Chapter 366. Even though her experience was caused to a certain extent by herself, most of it was caused by her own reasons. But Murong Han didn't think it was her fault. She thought everything was Murong Shue's fault. You guys chat about your things, I'll find my father-in-law. Li Chen glanced and said. Li Chen, how dare you be so presumptuous here, Murong Yan scolded. A man who relies on Murong Shui to survive dares to interrupt in such an occasion? It's simply nonsense. Bang. A figure appeared, it was Lu Lei. Everyone in the Murong family was shocked and had complicated expressions. The masters of the Zheng family, the Mu family, and the He family all changed their faces. Martial arts, Grand Master. His cultivation has improved. Master Lu. Murong Yan was stunned. Why did Lu Lei hit her? Lu Lei looked silent, and glanced at the people of the Murong family and said, if anyone dares to disrespect Mr. Li again, next time it won't be a slap. Master Lu, do you know what you are saying? You are the worshipper of my Murong family, how can you protect this dog Li Chen? Seeing this, Murong Han was furious. Before she could finish, Lu Lei grabbed the air with his right hand, and Murong Han appeared in front of Lu Lei with a terrified face. Kneel down. The momentum was like a rainbow. Murong Han's face was pale, and under the strong pressure, his legs knelt on the ground involuntarily. You don't know how to respect and humble, Murong Hung's has been too indulgent to you over the years. Lu Lei's voice was cold, if you dare to speak rudely again, I will cripple your hands and feet, pull out your tongue, and I wonder who in the Murong family dares to take you in. Murong Han was suppressed, but there was still resentment in her eyes. She was not convinced. Why can Murong Shui get all the good things, but she has nothing? Even at this time, there are masters protecting her, why? She is unwilling. Why? You are unwilling. Lu Lei saw Murong Han's resentful look and immediately slapped him. Ah! Murong Han screamed miserably, and his entire left arm was shattered to the shoulder. Everyone was silent. It was not until this moment that she suddenly realized that Lu Lei was not joking. Murong Han fell to the ground and howled in pain, and the pain of the shattered bones made her face distorted. Lu Lei's ruthless attack made Murong Han realize a cruel reality. Her life and death are not worth mentioning. Even if she had resentment in her heart, she did not dare to show it. Li Chen saw that everyone in the Murong family did not dare to speak, so he no longer paid attention to the Murong family, but set his sights on the three major families. He Runkai and Mu Wenjia were facing a great enemy. Zheng Wenjun looked at Li Chen with pride. This was the first time he met Li Chen. Seeing Li Chen's handsome face and skin more tender than a baby's, a hint of jealousy flashed in her eyes. If it were any woman, she would surely choose Li Chen between him and Li Chen, right? Are you Li Chen? Li Chen looked at Zheng Wenjun with a smile, and the other party's arrogant attitude was particularly obvious. Exactly. Are you here to confess? Zheng Wenjun said indifferently, as if he was a judge. Confess? What crime have I, Li Chen, committed? Li Chen asked with a puzzled look. Li Chen, please recognize your identity. You don't really think you can do whatever you want in the capital, do you? We didn't attack you because you are not qualified for us to really attack you. Don't be so arrogant here, He Runkai said coldly. Hearing this, Li Chen smiled calmly and said, I heard that your He family worked hard for the Zheng family and did a lot of homework on my wife. It doesn't matter if you don't admit it. I will give you back what you did back then. Li Chen smiled slightly and said, I will let you see with your own eyes how your He family fell apart. Just you. Just me. He Runkai threatened, I'm afraid that in the next second, there will be no Li Chen in the world. Li Chen glanced at the people from the three major families, then shook his head. He really didn't believe it. The master of the He family was very annoyed by Li Chen's eyes. They had never met such an arrogant young man. Li Chen was about to turn around, but suddenly pointed at Zheng Wenjun again, and you were the one who took the initiative to force my wife to marry you, but my wife refused, and you got angry and took the initiative to attack her. Use the Murong family to punish her with 10 years of imprisonment and humiliation, and I will let the Zheng family slowly pay back the debt. Zheng Wenjun sneered, not taking Li Chen's words to heart at all. Shuer, let's go. Did I let you go? He Runkai saw this and said coldly. This guy actually dared to ignore the three major families and everyone, and wanted to leave openly. He really didn't take the three major families seriously. Li Chen smiled when he heard this, and handed Li Biwu to Murong Shui. The next second, he punched out with both fists. The other two masters stood up at the same time and punched out one each. Bang bang. Li Chen fought one against two, and he was not at a disadvantage. Many people's faces changed. This guy is so strong? Li Chen frowned slightly. It was a pity that he was only in the middle stage of Grandmaster. If he was in the late stage of Grandmaster, he should be able to suppress them. They finally understood where Li Chen's toughness came from. In this state, Li Chen needed at least 3 or 5 Grandmasters to attack together to suppress him. Zheng Wenjun waved his hand calmly and said, if you are willing to kowtow and admit your mistakes, my Zheng family may spare your life for the sake of Mr. Murong. Otherwise, just because you are a clown, you dare to provoke my Zheng family, which is enough to make you die 10 times. Think about it yourself. Mu Wenjia and He Runkai looked at each other, and the masters around them walked out together. 2 late masters, 2 mid-masters, and 3 early masters. 7 in total. In addition to the 3 late masters of the Zheng family. At this moment, the foundation of the 3 major families came out together. Defeat Li Chen, and the systems of the Pan family, the Ye family, and the Yuan family will also fall apart. Li Chen. Still not admitting your mistakes. Hurry up and admit your mistakes and apologize to the 3 major families, and compensate them for their economic losses, you can still be saved. Our Murong family has been taking the blame for you for so long, don't you wake up yet? The Murong family, the CEOs of major companies, and the heads of large and small families all scolded. Let alone Li Chen, even if there are 3 or 5 more Murong families, they will have to kneel. This is the foundation and face of the 3 major families. In terms of military power, economy, and other aspects, they are absolutely overwhelming. They don't think Li Chen still has hope of turning things around. Li Chen saw this scene, but he was not panicked, and even felt like laughing. Admit mistakes and apologize. It seems that these 3 major families really regard themselves as messengers of justice. It seems that during this period, I have been too kind, so these families dare to take advantage of me. Li Chen, there is only one chance, you must seize it. The Country Life of a Rich Dad. Author, Wo Shihami Gua. Chapter 367. Li Chen, what are your thoughts? Not at all, Li Chen shook his head and said, how about you kneel down and kowtow to me, and I'll spare you once. Take down the stubborn thing. Let's see who dares. Just as the 3 major families were about to take action, another voice sounded. Ye Yonggan came with the Ye family Grandmaster, and Yuan Chenjiun came with Yuan Tianfeng. My Ye family is here today. If anyone dares to touch Li Chen, our Ye family will destroy his family or company at all costs. The same goes for the Yuan family. As Ye Yonggan and Yuan Chenjiun spoke, the expressions of the small and medium-sized families changed with surprise. Today's Ye family and Yuan family are no longer the ones that everyone can step on. They have risen so fast that big families have nothing to fear, but small families have to be afraid. Of course, although he is afraid, he will not retreat. After all, Li Chen is only one of the 4 great masters. Even with the support of the Ye family and the Yuan family, it is far from enough to compete with the 3 major families. Zheng Wenjun looked at Ye Yonggan and Yuan Chenjiun with a sneer. How dare these 2 ignorant people get involved? It's simply courting death. Murong Hongchuan and others couldn't figure it out, what were Li Chen's chances of winning? Originally, I thought that the Ye family and the UN family, having learned a lesson, should know how to assess the situation this time, but now it seems that you have not taken it to heart. I would like to see, today, the Ye family and the UN family, can't stop the three of us. Zheng Wenjun joked. The Ye family and the UN family are not qualified, what about me? At some point, a tall and thin figure walked out of a low-key hunky car. That is Xian Yuan Bingguo. Why is it him? Why is he here? There was a lot of noise all around. The appearance of Xian Yuan Bingguo made everyone a little confused. The pupils of Zheng Wenjun, Mu Wenjia, and Hirunkai shrank sharply, with expressions of disbelief on their faces. How come Li Chen still knows this evildoer Xian Yuan Bingguo? Xian Yuan Bingguo, who is white, thin, tall and handsome, walks in. Compared with before, she is a little less feminine and a little more masculine. Xian Yuan Bingguo stopped here, and those people retreated one after another. The Ye family and the UN family can still fight, but the Xian Yuan family can forget it. On the Murong family side, Murong Hongchuan, Murong Honghong, Murong Han, Murong Yan, and others all looked shocked. How can this be? How could a country guy like Li Chen know the existence of the Xian Yuan family? What's even more terrible is that now that the Xian Yuan family has taken sides, the balance of victory has suddenly been broken. Those companies and families that were affiliated with the three major families retreated one after another at this moment. Even for a top young man like Zheng Wenjun, whose eyes are higher than his head, his expression is extremely gloomy. They had calculated everything, but they had not calculated that Xian Yuan Bingguo would end up in person. How to play this? Do you still want to touch me? Li Chen asked friendly. No one said a word on the other side. Since not, then I have some news to share with you. Li Chen smiled, turned to look at Ye Yonggan and Yuan Chenjiun and said, has the news come? Yeah, Ye Yonggan and Yuan Chenjiun both nodded. Li Chen looked at Hirunkai and said, I have good news and bad news. I don't know which one you want to hear first. Everyone was confused, which one is this? Hirunkai didn't know what Li Chen was going to do. But the bad feeling in my heart is getting stronger. What do you mean? Hirunkai couldn't help but ask. Li Chen pointed in the direction of the He family and said, I originally wanted to play with you, but after thinking about it I decided not to. I'm very busy and in a hurry, so I'll tell you directly. There's good news about your He family. That is, your sister He Wangxia has returned. Everyone was stunned. Is this good news? If you think about it carefully, it's true. But, does Li Chen have such good intentions? Hirunkai heard the news and sneered, Li Chen, you don't think that if you let my sister go now, the grudges between my He family and you will be wiped out, right? In his opinion, Li Chen's release of his sister at this time was nothing more than an attempt to ease the conflict between them and to show goodwill. Hearing Hirunkai's narcissistic words, Li Chen couldn't help but laugh and said, I have to say, you look quite ugly, but you think beautifully. You. I'm right, you are the ugliest person here. By the way, let me tell you the bad news too. Li Chen said, now, the sovereignty of the He family should be taken by your sister. You said, you didn't save your sister at the beginning, will your sister be right? Do you have complaints against the entire family? What will your sister do next if she takes power? Hirunkai's expression suddenly changed. What did you instigate her to do? I didn't instigate anything, I just put her back intact. Oh, by the way, your sister felt that you didn't pay enough attention to her, so before she went back, I spent a lot of money to buy her off in her name. Some people, she should have taken over some rights now. Maybe a large number of people have started to follow her. Hirunkai's face was ashen, and just as he was about to pick up the phone to ask, the phone rang first. Master He, all 367 leaders of the head office have been fired. Master He, a large part of our company's shares have been acquired, and now the second lady is in charge. Mr. He, there is news from the partner that the second lady has cancelled all the contract orders, and our He family has to pay the penalty. One piece of bad news after another came. He Runkai staggered and looked at Li Chen with disgust. Did you threaten her? I swear to God, I didn't. Li Chen shook his head. Your sister is fine, even the injuries on her legs and feet have recovered. I definitely didn't threaten her. I think she just wants to get what she deserves. Oh, and Mr. Mu. Mu Wenji's heart sank suddenly, and when he took out his mobile phone, his face changed again. The Mu family was investigated. Tax evasion, including the previous black material, now all broke out. Li Chen, you despicable villain. Mu Wenji's face was full of anger. If my father has any mishap, I want you to die. Li Chen waved his hand, too lazy to pay attention to him. Now your Mu family can't protect itself, and you still want to threaten me? Besides, this was done by He Wangxia, not me. Why are you looking for me? He Runkai and Mu Wenjia looked at each other, turned around and left. A big reshuffle within the He family. Chaos, complete chaos. The Mu family has been targeted by countless people, and it is still unclear whether they can escape this disaster. It is useless to target Li Chen here at this moment. From the moment the Xian Yuan family stood up, this targeting has failed. The situation of the three major families can be said to be worse. The Country Life of a Rich Dad. Author, Wo Shihami Gua. Chapter 368. Zheng Wenjun just watched helplessly as the He family and the Mu family evacuated. They had to clean up the mess. Otherwise, if the Ye family, the Yuan family, and the Pan family take action, even if these two families stabilize the situation, they may have to go back more than 10 years. 7 of the 10 powerful masters left in an instant, leaving only 3 members of the Zheng family still here. The situation is reversed instantly. I heard that Mr. Zheng is very capable. The Zheng family was also first-rate in cutting flowers and picking peaches. Li Chen was speechless, then he patted Yuan Chenjiun and said, the next step is left to you. Yuan Chenjiun looked at Zheng Wenjun. Zheng Wenjun's face was gloomy. Li Chen had made preparations for both the Mu family and the He family, but what about the Zheng family? Young Master Zheng, you should go back, Yuan Chenjiun said with a smile. Of course, if young Master Zheng insists on going to war with us, we are willing to accompany him to the end. Zheng Wenjun's expression suddenly changed, and the bad feeling in his heart became stronger. Walk. He didn't even have the intention of staying for a while, and rushed back with his people. Master Zheng, I suggest you buy some medicine for heart disease, so as not to be unable to survive when you go back. Yuan Chenjiun said loudly and took out his mobile phone. It's time to start. The 3 major families came and left even faster. Many people watching the show were confused. Don't understand what happened? Li Chen didn't do anything, he just used his money-counting ability to rob their nest. Everything is a double-edged sword. Who says a rich person's wealth cannot be stolen with money? Until all 3 major families left, only Li Chen's side and the Murong family's side were left. Li Chen glanced at Muronghan and others, not interested in arguing with these people, and said, Father-in-law, you have seen enough theater. Isn't it time to talk about things between us? From the beginning to the end, Li Chen had no intention of taking action against the 3 Zheng families personally. He promised Yuan Chenjiun and Ye Yonggan that they would take action and slowly torture these 3 families to death. And this is just the beginning, the days to come are still long. Now that everything has been settled, it's time for him to redeem himself. The capital was a very smoky place, and there was nothing worthy of his nostalgia. It's better to go back as soon as possible. After hearing Li Chen's words, everyone in the Murong family became commotion. In the distance, Yuan Jiawai pushed Murong Hungs out in a wheelchair. Father-in-law, I am here to redeem you today. Li Chen looked at Murongheng's and said. Murongheng's glanced at Li Chen meaningfully, then smiled and said, I am not the head of the Murong family now, you should find him. Everyone is very curious. Li Chen has collected more than 100 billion? But how is this possible? Murongheng Chuan narrowed his eyes, suddenly turned to look in the direction of the Murong family's residence and said, Father, I implore you to dismiss me as the head of the family. What? Dad, are you crazy? Everyone in the Murong family was in an uproar. Murongheng's, who was sitting in a wheelchair, had a flash of surprise in his eyes. After hearing this, Murongheng showed a look of ecstasy. Although she didn't understand why her second brother suddenly resigned as the head of the family, but if her second brother resigned, wouldn't she have a chance? Murong Daiwan's voice came out, are you giving way? Yes, Murongheng Chuan said. Who will give way to you? Brother. Murongheng was the first to object, Father, eldest brother has neglected his duty, how can he be the head of the family again? When Murongheng Chuan heard this, a sneer appeared on his lips. This idiot was simply seeking death. In this case, the position of head of the family will still be held by Murongheng's. What Murongheng never expected was that the old man actually agreed. Father. Murongheng became anxious upon hearing this. She didn't know yet that what awaited them next would be a major purge. Yuan Jiawai, who was pushing Murongheng's, showed an expression that was indeed the case. Although it was slightly different from what was expected, it was all under Murongheng's control. For a moment, everyone in the Murong family felt that a storm was coming. I don't know why, but I feel so panicked. Murongheng nodded toward the room, and then pointed to Murong's house. But Li Chen shook his head and said, I won't go in the house. Murongheng no longer pressed, so he said, have you prepared the money? 1,234 billion, this is what Xue owes to the Murong family. 10 billion was redeemed by Xue, totaling 1,334 billion, right, Li Chen said slowly after hearing this. Everyone present, including Xianyu and Bingguo, showed surprise. How long has it been since Li Chen collected more than 100 billion? Even for a big family like theirs, it's not easy to get them together, let alone Li Chen. Who said Murong Xue only owes 123.4 billion? Just after Li Chen finished speaking, Murongheng said with a cold face. Not to mention whether Li Chen has the 133.4 billion. Even if there were, the price would have to increase now. Murongheng did not get the position of head of the family, and one can imagine his resentment. But after all, she is one of the most powerful people in the Murong family. As long as she blocks it, there is nothing Murongheng can do. As for Murong Xue, don't ever think about getting away easily in this life. This is what she owes to the Murong family. Seeing this scene, Murong Yan and Murong Kun were also ready to stand up, but were stopped by Murongheng Chuan. Dad. Just as the two siblings were about to speak, they were stopped by Murongheng Chuan in an extremely cold manner. The two siblings had no choice but to shut up. Li Donglong, Li Zifeng, and Li Nanfei all looked at Murongheng with anger upon hearing this. They didn't like this person at all. Grandpa said in person that as long as Li Chen collected the money, he could redeem the person. How could he regret it now? Li Chen glanced at Murongheng with a playful look, and then looked at Murongheng. Murongheng said lightly, from today on, Murongheng will be stripped of his status as a direct descendant of the Murong family and expelled from the Murong family. Boom! The Murong family was in an uproar, especially the third branch. Why? Murongheng, you are avenging your personal grudges. How can you convince the public if you are unfair? People from Murongheng's faction started to stir up trouble. Murongheng had a cold face. The Murong family was not a one-man show for Murongheng. Muronghongs looked at the people from the third room who were not convinced and said, "From now on, you are not allowed to stay in the Murong family. All the finances of the third room will be confiscated. Anyone who takes a penny will be handed over to the judicial authorities for trial. Muronghongs, you are abusing your power for personal gain." Muronghonghong was furious. She just said a word, and it led to revenge and suppression. Of course, she would not accept it. Seeing the ferocious face of the sister, Muronghong Chuan shook his head. There is really no cure for stupidity. If he had not taken the initiative to abdicate just now, this elder brother must have had a lot of ways to get his family kicked out. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Country Life of a Rich Dad. Author, Wo Shihami Gua. Chapter 369. Master Lu, please be a supervisor. The people listed below should move out of the Murong family immediately and hand over all the money that Tan Mo has acquired. Otherwise, the Murong family will never tolerate it. Their eyes widened one by one, completely unable to believe what they heard. Who in the Murong family is not greedy? But today, Muronghonghong's words gave him the opportunity to take action. Master, you can't do this. This is all Muronghonghong's intention and has nothing to do with us. Diamond suit, Diamond suit. Master, we were wrong. There were cries and pleas. Muronghongs had never been so cold-blooded before, so naturally they didn't take Muronghongs seriously either. But now, when Muronghongs started a large-scale purge and sweep, it was already too late for them to react. Muronghong's coldness and domineering gave them a new understanding of this kind family head for the first time. Muronghonghong, my father gave this to me personally. Your third bedroom has been kicked out. Muronghonghong looked at the letter and fell to the ground with a pale face. It's over. The third bedroom is completely finished. Murongyan and Murongkun lowered their heads, breaking out in cold sweat. They finally understood why their father stopped them just now. If he had spoken just now, he would also be among those to be liquidated. Uncle. There have long been plans to purge the Murong family. Everyone, go down. No one in the third room will be allowed to stay here today. Anyone who dares to get even a penny more will have their hands and feet cut off. Muronghongs waved his hand, and the elite members of Murong's family appeared one after another, pulling the group of people crying for their fathers and mothers away from the scene. Everyone was cold from the top of their heads to their hands and feet. Now the number of people standing in front of Murong's house has dropped by more than half. Even Murong Han, who was kneeling on the ground, did not dare to speak. She always thought that her father could manipulate him at will, but it wasn't until this moment that she suddenly realized. It's not that he has no temper, it's that he spent 10 years planning it. So, everything was planned by him? Muronghan slowly lowered his head. She didn't dare to think deeply. The more she thought about it, the more timid she felt. Is there really no element of his connivance in what he has done over the years? Thinking of this, Muronghan felt even more chilled. Everyone is being his pawn. Muronghan. Muronghan, who was kneeling on the ground, trembled slightly. She knew that her trial would eventually come. You know how many wrong things you have done over the years. For the sake of Luo Jian and Murong Long, I won't make it difficult for you. From today on, you can retain your identity as the legitimate daughter of Murong's family, but the authority, rights, and dividends of the Murong family have nothing to do with you. Although Murong Long is a descendant of our family, he is not qualified to participate in the inheritance of the Murong family's property and rights. He will not be allowed to enter the Murong family's rights center for life. Murong Hung sat in a wheelchair, leaned over slightly and said, "Do you have any objections?" Murong Han shivered and said, "No, no." Murong Hung's never looked at his biological daughter again, it was terrifying to watch from beginning to end. Murong Hongchuan, I'll give you 1 day to find out those who are guilty of serious disciplinary violations, corruption and betrayal of the Murong family, confiscate their property, and transfer them to judicial trial. Is there any problem? Murong Hongchuan's back was soaked with cold sweat and said, no problem. He didn't dare have any questions. After Murong Hung's calmly dealt with all the people who were in the way, he looked at Li Chen and said, it's time between us. When Li Chen saw this, he smiled and said, I must have calculated the amount of 1,334 billion correctly, right? Yuanjiawai, Murong Shui and others stared at Murong Hungs. Will he regret it? Murong Hungs was silent for a long time and then said, that's right. From today on, Murong Shui has nothing to do with the Murong family. She is mine. Li Chen took a step forward and said slowly. Murong Hung slowly raised his head and looked directly at Li Chen. A long time. Under Murong Shui's extremely anxious and uneasy gaze, Murong Hungs finally spoke. I said, as long as you pay the money, she will have nothing to do with the Murong family from now on. Hearing this, Li Zifeng and Li Nanfei felt happy. Li Donglong frowned slightly. He looked at his mother worriedly. 10 billion, severing her relationship with the Murong family. It seemed like a relief, but why wasn't it a stab in the mother's heart? Murong Shui had a complicated expression and showed a sad smile. In his eyes, I am just a pawn and tool to make money. Murong Shui felt very sad. She loved and hated this family at the same time. However, when the moment of liberation finally arrived, it was not as sad as imagined. Li Chen glanced at Murong Shui, gently held her little hand, and said, I will be responsible for the rest of your life. Murong Shui's heart trembled and she held Li Chen's hand firmly. Why don't you, father-in-law, make another condition? You and the old man have raised Xiaolong for so long, and I, Li Chen, will not deliberately erase this credit. Everyone in the Murong family was even more happy. If Li Donglong is also redeemed by Li Chen, then there will be no one left in Murong's family room. Now that Murong Han had committed such a mistake, Murong Hungs personally told him that Murong Long would not be allowed to inherit any rights. That means that the eldest branch of the family has completely fallen. What's more, now there are the Ye family and the Yuan family backing Murong Shui, and the Murong family doesn't have the courage to choose Murong Han's son Murong Long to control the Murong family. In the end, the power will be handed over to the second branch. Murong Hungs shook his head and said, Xiaolong is my nephew and a member of the Murong family. You can't redeem him. As soon as these words came out, Murong Shui's face changed slightly, and Li Zifeng and Li Nanfei both showed anger. And the faces of the people in the Murong family also dimmed. Li Donglong has been trained by Murong Hungs and Murong Daiwen since he was a child. He is the successor. How can they let him go? Murong Shui clenched her hands and looked at Li Chen. What if I want to take him away? Li Chen looked cold. You can't take him away. Murong Hungs looked at Li Chen calmly, with an extremely firm attitude. For a moment, the atmosphere, which had been relaxed, seemed to become tense again. Now everyone with a discerning eye can see that Li Chen has become a force to be reckoned with. The Murong family may not be able to defeat Li Chen. If they turn against Li Chen at this moment, the Murong family may also be hit hard. They hope that Murong Hungs will let Li Donglong go, so that they can have a chance to rise again. Otherwise, if Li Donglong takes over the Murong family in the future, won't the Murong family fall into Li Chen's hands in the end? However, Murong Hungs is now tough and domineering, and just now he came with a wave of power, and no one really dared to refute him. They hope that Li Chen and Murong Hungs will turn against each other. Murong Hungs sighed and said, we have trained him for these years in order to train a successor. I can allow him to communicate and live with you, but he can't go with you. Li Chen's face changed for a while, and he looked at Li Donglong, you decide whether to stay or go. No one expected that Li Chen would respect Li Donglong's choice. Then will Li Donglong choose to go with Li Chen? The Country Life of a Rich Dad. Author, Wo Shihami Gua. Chapter 370. Even Yuanjia and Murong Shui couldn't help but worry. They wanted Li Donglong to leave. Li Donglong bowed slightly to Li Chen and Murong Shui, and under the gaze of his three younger brothers and sisters, Li Zifeng, Li Nanfei, and Li Biwu, he said slowly, "Dad, Mom. I want to stay in Jeli." When Yuanjia and Murong Shui heard this, their bodies trembled slightly. They didn't understand why Li Donglong wanted to stay. Cauldron, Li Biwu, who was held in Murong Shui's arms, was extremely quiet today. After hearing what Li Donglong said, she became anxious. "Deguo, can you go fat with us?" Li Biwu struggled to hug Li Donglong. Li Donglong backed away slightly and said with a smile, "Xiao Wu, be good and listen to your mother, Ji Dao." "Cauldron, Cauldron." Li Biwu's eyes turned red and he was about to cry. Murong Shui hugged Li Biwu tightly and felt very uncomfortable when she saw the eldest son walking towards Murong Hung's. "Li Donglong, have you really thought about it?" Li Donglong turned away and said without looking back, "I've thought about it." Li Chen took a deep breath, looked at Murong Hung's and said, "I hope your Murong family will treat him well. If anything happens to my son, the Murong family will be either dead or disabled." Murong Hung's didn't make any promises because he didn't need to. Account number. Soon, the Murong family's public account was handed over to Li Chen, and Li Chen directly transferred 133.4 billion. Host, Li Chen. Wealth, 11,982,832,019. Skills, release inner energy outwards. Medical skills, immortal level. Beast control, god level. Return points, 583,079. Return level, 50 times. 2,865,670,000,000,000,000,000,000. Currency exchange, 1:20,000. Looking at the only 11.9 billion left in his account, Li Chen wasn't too sad. He doesn't feel any reluctance to pay off his wife's debt. Walk. "Whoa, I want a big pot," Li Biwu struggled like a monkey. Li Chen took it with one hand and held it in his arms. "Whoa, Cauldron, Cauldron." The little guy who is usually the most carefree, is crying especially sadly at this moment. She didn't understand why mommy could leave but Cauldron couldn't. Li Zifeng and Li Nanfei looked at Li Donglong with complicated eyes. They also didn't understand. But they won't cry. The two siblings turned around to catch up with Li Chen and Murong Shui, and left without looking back. Seeing this scene, Ye Yonggan and Yuan Jiayun shook their heads helplessly. "Xiaolong, come to us if you need anything." "Okay," Li Donglong nodded obediently, watching everyone go away with red eyes. Yuan Jiawei burst into tears, unwilling to stay any longer, turned around and left. Murong Hung's looked at his wife's leaving figure and sighed, "You will understand my painstaking efforts by then." Glancing at Li Donglong, Murong Hung said, "Going for a walk with Grandpa." "Okay," Li Donglong nodded, and the two of them didn't bother with the messy Murong family. "Why did Sen stay?" Murong Hung's asked. "Repay the favor," Li Donglong replied seriously. "Anything else?" "Do not have." Murong Hung smiled when he heard this and said, "Do you resent Grandpa?" "Don't hate." "Why Sen? Grandpa must have some troubles." "Hey." Murong Hung sighed, "I didn't expect that the one who understands me best is you, little guy." Li Donglong's eyes flickered and he didn't answer. "Whoa." Li Biwu cried so sadly. Tears and snot flowed together. When the big pot and daddy are there, it is the happiest day for the family. She didn't understand why Senator Big Pot didn't follow Daddy back. Xiao Wu, don't cry, Li Chen hugged Li Biwu and patted her back gently. It's not that your elder brother doesn't want you, but he wants to do something. Li Biwu stared with watery eyes, a little red and swollen from crying. Are you doing it? Li Zifeng and Li Nanfei were both in very low moods. They thought the ending was happy. But it turned out not to be. Li Chen glanced at Murong Shui, who was also unhappy, and could only sigh and said, "You can listen to the recording Xiao Long gave you." Murong Shui and others' eyes widened. Li Chen took out his mobile phone and played the recording. Mom, Xiao Feng, Xiaofei, Xiao. Forgive me for not being able to go with you. Dad and I have talked about this topic before. I want to stay, not to commemorate the Murong family. I have things to do. Mama, you said you should be grateful as a person. No matter how bad my grandpa and great-grandfather may be, they are the ones who helped me raise and educate me. I can't forget my roots. In addition, my grandfather's recent actions have become increasingly confusing to me. I even discovered that some things may be related to my grandfather, such as, Xiao Wu was killed. Murong Shui, Li Nanfei, and Li Zifeng's eyes widened. Is the loss of Xiao Wu related to Murong Hung's? Although they all knew that Murong Hung's didn't like Xiao Wu, she was his granddaughter after all. Why did he do this? What's the purpose? It's my responsibility for not taking good care of Xiao Wu. I'll help you make the big pot, so I won't have anything else to do. Besides, I just want to find out something. If everything is over, I will come back to you. Murong Shui's eyes widened. Mom, Xiao Feng, Xiaofei, Xiao, I love you. The recording stopped abruptly. Li Zifeng and Li Nanfei exclaimed, brother wants to be a spy. Investigate grandpa. Even Li Biwu, a semi-confused foodie, stopped crying. Did my father deliberately abduct Xiao Wu? Murong Shui caught Li Chen. I don't know about this at the moment. Li Chen shook his head and said, if this is really the case, then I can only say that my father-in-law is playing a big game of chess. Murong Shui's face turned pale. Then you still promise Xiao Long to stay with him? Although Murong Hung's liked Li Donglong from the bottom of his heart, there was no guarantee that the old man would do something else. Why did he want to lose Xiao Wu? What is the purpose? Shui, don't worry, I left Lu Lei here just to protect Xiao Long, Li Chen reassured. In addition, what happened 10 years ago, maybe, was planned by him. Murong Sweru was struck by lightning. The marriage 10 years ago, the changes in the Murong family, and she was finally imprisoned for 10 years. Murong Shui couldn't believe her ears. I didn't plan to tell you all this, but... Li Chen sighed. If he didn't tell you, you might still misunderstand Xiao Long. Murong Shui's face turned pale. Is the affection between father and daughter also fake? What on earth did Murong Hung's want to do? If this is the case, wouldn't it mean that what happened today? Just today, Murong Hung's used my hand to attack those 3 families. Li Chen confessed. Murong Shui remained silent. Such a father made her feel extremely strange. Is it really a good thing for Xiao Long to stay with him?